minute. We're pleased to welcome now Caleb Sailors, Multimedia Journalist, SuperTalk Mississippi News.
Playing a little maestro right now.
That'll get you in the mood for some news right there, won't it? All right, Caleb.
And Gerard, do we have we had a lot of it this week in Mississippi? My goodness, I'm ready for my email to stop being flooded for once. No, I love it. I'm a news junkie, and we've gotten plenty of it this week. I'm going to start us off with a sad and tragic story out of Oxford. Last night, an Ole Miss student, what I was told, a report to me, was that an Ole Miss student jumped off of Vaught-Hemingway Stadium to his death, and while the university hasn't confirmed that the specifics of the suicide, it has been reported that a student did commit suicide. The coroner confirmed that the student is dead. The student has not been identified yet, but very, very tragic situation. And Ole Miss officials have reached out to me and said they're encouraging students and faculty members who were impacted by this to, seek counseling and resources that are available on campus. But, just Gerard, it kind of highlights a mental health crisis we're having. And I'm not sure what all this student was going through or who this person was. I have no idea, but it does underscore, a lot of our young people on college campuses are enduring a lot of stress and pressure, and I don't think social media helps a ton. And it kind of, it makes you want to, hold and hug your loved ones a little tighter, a little more, and remind them that you love them. And it's just really, really tragic to see this. And yeah, just you don't ever want these things to occur, but I was told I didn't get to make it to the basketball game last night. They were playing in the pavilion right next to the football stadium, but I was told by people who attended the game that there was a large presence of law enforcement near the Manning Center, which, again, if you've been to the Ole Miss campus, the football stadium, the Manning Center, which is the IPF and where the players are, and a lot of offices, and then the pavilion are all like right in one little complex. But just tragic story. So keep this, student, his family in your prayers. I know I certainly will. And Gerard, segueing though, we've got a little update in the corruption scandal in Jackson. As the FBI has investigated, this just deep, convoluted, series of backdoor dealings by city officials. We have 3 who were indicted recently. We've had more than that. 2 of them pleaded guilty, but the 3 most recent, District Attorney Jody Owens, Mayor Chokwe Antar Lumumba, and City Councilman Aaron Banks pleaded not guilty. They have said they are innocent. They have not done anything wrong. When we've read the court papers, the court reports, and anybody that wants to read this, it's all public information, but you can go to supertalk.fm. Ben Milam, one of our other reporters, did a fantastic job detailing what was in the court documents. But these guys are accused of a lot. Bribes, trying to steer a contract for a downtown convention center, a real estate project development, and trying to kind of bribe city council people and the mayor to vote on it and move it forward. And there was a lot of dirty money going around, and the district attorney was caught on a federal wire on tape, video, talking about how he wants to use his businesses to clean dirty money, in which his businesses were raided by the FBI earlier this year. We had the first domino to fall was Ward 2 Councilwoman Angelique Lee, who pleaded guilty, and Jody Owens' cousin / business partner, Shariq Marv Smith, also pleaded guilty. However, the district attorney and the mayor and the city councilman, who all have their names stamped on all of this, have said, no, we're not doing anything wrong. Well, now that they've pleaded not guilty, they're going to go to trial, and the trial was originally scheduled for January 6th, which is very soon. They're taking this like we're giving you a speedy trial. Like, they're taking that to the max. But attorneys on both sides, for the prosecution and the defense, are saying, whoa, we can't have the trial this early.
Crazy.
We're not going to be able to go through the pretrial discovery process thoroughly or adequately if we go in 45 days from now. So the defense is saying that they need to obtain all this evidence, this pretrial evidence from the discovery evidence from the prosecution. And the prosecution basically says there's hundreds of hours of tape, and there's bank statements and all sorts of reports and all sorts of paper documents they have to go through and sift through to send to the defense. And the defense is saying it may take us months to review all of this before we could even think about going to trial. And so both sides have appealed to the judge and said, or appealed to the courts and said, look, we need some more time.
Yeah.
But if you're wanting to know more about this corruption scandal, you can go to supertalk.fm. We've got probably 7-8 articles about it, and so you can read all about it and learn everything. I'm not going to get long-winded on that here, Gerard, but we've I think done just as good of a job as anybody in detailing and accounting what's been going on in the capital city. And speaking of Mississippi, right outside of the capital city, Mississippi College, the oldest institution of higher learning in Mississippi they're making some changes at the institution level, both on the academic side and on the athletic side. Academically, and I guess this applies to athletics as well, they're going to change their name to Mississippi Christian University, and this will be in 2026 and coinciding with their bicentennial, which is coming up, which is pretty cool to think that, we have a university that's about to be 200 years old in Mississippi. Really neat. But
Incredible.
They're going to be consolidating multiple departments and trying to stress and emphasize their dedication to being a Christian college in Mississippi, a Christian college in the Metro Jackson area, giving students a religious experience on campus. And further, they're also made the sad decision to shutter their football program. Mississippi College had a group of trustees, financial experts, people in the know, probably some, Gerard Gibberts of our society that, know what they're talking about. Look at the numbers, and apparently the numbers said that the football department was a money pit. Yeah. And a lot of, and I'm sure I would wager most colleges in Mississippi are losing money on football because the scholarships, the coaching staff, the amount of players. I mean, it costs a lot of money to run a football program. Now, I think the SEC schools are fine. I think Ole Miss and Mississippi State are fine in the football realm. They make money on football, but Mississippi colleges, the Belhavens, the Millsaps, the Delta States, even Southern Miss, I can't imagine they're making money on football. But,
hard to make it work these days.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're shuttering their football program. Now, the head coach, Mike Kershaw, now this is sad. He was hired to be their head coach this year. This was his first year as the Choctaws head coach. And according to him, he was notified, given no notice, just a couple hours notice that they were going to be shuttering the football program. And so you have all these players on the roster that are going to either remain at Mississippi College and not have a football team to play for, or have to find a new home. You have all these coaches and him, the head coach. They're all going to have to find new jobs, and he's been proactive in, trying to find his guys, opportunities elsewhere. He's gone on social media and said, hey, if you're a head coach at another program.
It doesn't appear they had any warning or any indication, right?
I mean, according to Kershaw, no notice at all from the university. And now the president of Mississippi College, Dr. Blake Thompson, said that he kind of blamed NIL a little bit for their reason to shutter the football program. I see the look that you're making, Gerard. I made the same look myself, and I know Michael Borky, our sports talk guy, was on social media talking about his opinion on the matter, saying the NIL shouldn't really impact D2 football, and I couldn't agree more with Borky. Now, do I think that there may be some NIL in Division II football? Maybe, but not to the extent. Mississippi College isn't competing with Alabama.
Yeah.
Mississippi College isn't competing with Ole Miss or Georgia. Maybe for attendance on Saturdays, they may want to siphon some people from the Vault or from Davis Wade Stadium or even M.M. Roberts Stadium to come watch their team on Saturday, but they're never, from a money standpoint, they were never competing that way. And D2 programs compete against other D2 programs. Gerard, an example of a successful D2 football program in Mississippi is in the Delta. It's Delta State. They've been consistently good over the years. Do you think they're flush with cash right now? We know. We've talked about their financial struggles. Yeah. And they've made it work. And so it's a bittersweet, I wouldn't say sweet, it's a bitter moment for Mississippi College. Now, the university does want to explore more options and, promoting more concerts on campus and putting more money, more resources into other sports like their soccer and basketball programs or baseball, and try to be more competitive in those areas. They just determined that football costs too much money.
You're going to see more of this across the country. All right, the Supreme Court runoffs.
All right, well, we've got the Supreme Court race and a Court of Appeals race. Supreme Court here in central Mississippi, you've got incumbent Jim Kitchens is being challenged by State Senator Jennifer Branning, who's obviously both have been on the programs, and we've heard advertisements from both, but that race will be Tuesday, as well as on the coast, Amy St. Pei versus Jennifer Schlogel for Court of Appeals. And look, y'all can vote as late as tomorrow for early voting at noon on Saturday. It's the last time to vote early, or you can go in person on Tuesday and vote.
come back and talk to us about a couple more things.
Plenty
we got
more.
Casino earnings, MAIS championships underway. And Ole Miss has got a big contest in front of them tomorrow. We're coming right back with Caleb Sailors, multimedia journalist of SuperTalk Mississippi News. We're in the Element Wealth studio. Ted Burton. We got Caleb Sailors in the Element Wealth studio. We're just running down the news. So we just got a message from a friend, a member of the legislature, a senator, that asking about some sort of issue down in Hattiesburg, right, that you did a little research on it.
Yeah, just looked
annexation case.
First I'd heard of it, but apparently the city of Hattiesburg is trying to annex portions of forest in Lamar County on Highway 98 and 49, which we know is very heavily trafficked and popular part of the Pine Belt and kind of a commercial corridor down there. And it looks like their attempts are unsuccessful, but I'll definitely be diving more into that and looking into it so I can give the people what they want.
Yeah, and we're looking into the latest news about the Jackson International Airport, me, and Jackson, JAN, of course. But this has been a contentious matter between the state and the city on
deals with
who
the
should
Municipal
operate
Airport Authority, and it deals with who actually appoints the board members, who's on the board, and where the representation from, because, the current makeup is Jackson leaders, Jackson officials. Well, obviously the state's wanting Rankin County, Madison County, and some of the, bigger chunks of the metro area to have representation on the board as well. And that's been a heated and contentious fight. And I don't see that going away anytime soon. I think that's going to be a continuous struggle. But, yeah. I
know you guys are looking into that, but I just want to share this with the audience. We got a little time here since you got a couple of more issues to talk about in this segment. But folks that I know real well that fly through the airport, did you hear about this, Rhino? Like last week, I think, arrived at the parking facility to find that the gates were non-functional, and they had to go park like a long way away and take a shuttle. And then they get in, and the escalator's down. Now, I got to tell you, I flew through that airport last in May. The escalator was down then. This is the worst airport in America. I don't mind saying it. It's the worst airport in America, and I've been in numerous airports from coast to coast in my business career. And even back then, when it was in better shape, I thought, this is so embarrassing. And when I would have members of the financial community, potential investors, lenders from New York, Chicago, fly into Jackson to meet with us when I was seeking capital to expand the business, I'd always hold my breath. Oh, my gosh, they've never been to Mississippi. And the very first thing they're going to see is that deplorable airport. And I would always, of course, go pick them up, and chauffeur them around. And I would apologize for the airport and try to get them out of there. And let's go somewhere else where you get a different feel for the quality of our community. We got to do something. I honestly believe that modernizing and renovating that airport would be significant in terms of boosting our economy. I think it is critical. I really do. And we need some new leadership. We need some new vision. We need to get that done. I'm sorry to kind of go off on a rant there, but I don't mind saying that. All right, Caleb, casino quarterly earnings down a bit.
You talk about something that you apologize for, and I guess I apologize to a lot of my friends that, mobile sports betting's not legal in Mississippi, and that
it's affecting us.
Might be a hill I'm willing to die on. But, right, I will preface the report with this. Every single state, except for one, the one being Nevada, which has a fickle market, that legalized mobile sports betting or has legal mobile sports betting or iGaming, saw drastic increase, a drastic boost in revenue in their quarter 3 earnings this year. That's according to the American Gaming Association. Mississippi, on the other hand, did not follow the national average of an uptick in revenue, but saw a decline in revenue from its gaming industry in the quarter 3. Yeah. So last year in January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September of last year, Mississippi had recorded $627.3 million in revenue. This year, it generated just over $605 million. So that's a $21 million drop, year over year. And if you looking at the trends nationally, iGaming and mobile sports betting was up tremendously. Brick and mortars in general saw a downtick, and in Mississippi, you're confined to the brick and mortar. Now you can bet on your phone in Mississippi, but it has to be in the confines
on a casino property.
Of a casino, right.
Yeah.
It's geofenced. So if I'm at the Beau Rivage and I'm on a slot machine and I want to, oh, cool, Army and Navy are playing later. Let me bet on this game. I can do that from my phone in there. But the second I walk outside those doors, I'm not allowed to do that. I'm not able to do that. And, experts have said that legalizing mobile sports betting would boost Mississippi's revenue. It would help. It would make us more competitive than states like Alabama and Louisiana. And you see a state like Tennessee that doesn't have traditional casinos, but they're blowing Mississippi out of the market with its gaming revenue because of mobile sports betting. And look, what do we have going on right now? What do we have going on at the tail end of quarter 3? Football. Yeah. And Mississippians love to bet on college football, the NFL, and now we're in basketball season. People are setting up parlays with college basketball, NBA, and you can bet on just about anything. But we live here in the Jackson area. Gerard, how often are we driving out to Vicksburg or driving out to Pearl River Resort or going up to Tunica or down to the coast? And I think it would be a golden opportunity for the casinos to, the legislature tried to enact a bill last year or this past session that would allow these platforms, right, BetMGM, DraftKings, FanDuel, to partner with a Mississippi casino. And so that way, if you're mobile sports betting, at least the casino is able to recoup that revenue just in case, out of fear that they may be losing traditional walk-ins. Well, you can sync that to your rewards program. And we talked about this. Jay McDaniel, our executive director of the Mississippi Gaming Association, has talked about that ad nauseum. But if I'm here in Jackson and I want to place a wager on a game and I'm using, BetMGM, so I'm going through the Beau Rivage, well, if I'm betting on enough games, the way the Beau Rivage can entice me to go down there is to say, hey, look, we'll throw you a free room, we'll throw you, a meal or something, and that'll entice me to go down there. That'll entice other Mississippians. Our friends at Pearl River Resort would probably love the opportunity to garner more foot traffic to not just the sports book, but all of its other amenities and offerings, and that's an easy way to do it. But the bottom line is Mississippi is losing money by not legalizing mobile sports betting, and whether you're fundamentally for or against that is irrelevant to the facts. And I know that our good friend, Representative Fred Shanks, said he's going to bring it back up in the legislature this year or this coming session. He's going to talk about mobile sports betting. I think David Blunt, who's over gaming on the Senate side, will address it again. But, it got held up in the Senate last year. The House was all for it. Representative Casey Uri, who's from the coast, he was pushing this legislation, and a lot were, but the Senate...
He authored it.
Yeah, he did. And the Senate was where the holdup was. We might see a change this year, though, and I'm not sure where the governor stands on the issue, but I really couldn't see Governor Reeves not enacting a bill that would benefit Mississippi financially.
Or just grow the free market.
Right.
Honestly, he's a big proponent of that.
You call yourself a free market conservative, and look, if you're wanting to cut taxes in the state, too, you need to find ways to generate more revenue. Yeah. And so that's a source right there.
Yeah.
Right there. Gerard, we got some high school football going on. We actually have a game going on right this second. The MAIS has kicked off its championship weekend. Yesterday we had 2 games. DeSoto School out of Arkansas, which is part of the MAIS, they compete against Mississippi Private Schools, beat Tunica Academy 58-32. Last night I went down to JA to watch this one. Kirk Academy smacked Marshall Academy 35-10. That was Class 3A. Right now, Class 1A is taking place at JA. Wilkinson Christian versus Briarfield out of Louisiana. And so we've got plenty more games, 2 more to today after that one. And then tomorrow night, the big game, the marquee matchup between Jackson Prep and Hartfield will take place at Mississippi College at 6. And look, that's a revenge game. Jackson Prep beat Hartfield in the regular season earlier this year, but Hartfield beat them in the championship last year. And Hartfield kind of really emerged to the top of the scene, not out of nowhere, but drastically. I mean, very quickly. And then they were kind of a team that was bullied by the MRAs, the Jackson Preps, and other, top dogs in the MAIS, but they've really invested in their football program and have become a big dog themselves. And so I do think Jackson Prep will win that game tomorrow night, but Hartfield's come a long way. It's come a long way. Yeah.
They've become a powerhouse.
They're a very good team. And before I get to Ole Miss football, we got big news there, but Topgolf is nearing its completion in Ridgeland. I know you took a picture of it recently. I was out there. I went to a movie with some friends last week, and I drove by the Topgolf, and I took some pictures. I'm like, wow, they're making a lot of progress. Well, Mayor Gene McGee of Ridgeland has confirmed that it'll be opening up sometime in December. So y'all start practicing your swings. And look, Ole Miss came in at number 9 in the college football playoff poll, the most recent one on Tuesday. Huge news. Ole Miss is ahead of Georgia and Tennessee, two SEC counterparts, and they sit very comfortably. If Ole Miss beats Florida tomorrow and then State in the Egg Bowl on Friday, they're in a strong position to compete for a national championship.
Big game tomorrow.
Huge game tomorrow. They have to win 11 o'clock on ABC and ESPN+.
Mississippi State, what time do they play?
They play at 3:15. They're playing Missouri and Starkville tomorrow. And look, I'll be keeping you posted on Ole Miss content, so keep up with me on Twitter and then follow us on SuperTalk.fm for everything.
Gotcha. Folks, appreciate it, Caleb.
Thanks
for
Roy.
coming in. Folks, we're coming right back in the Element